evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. In compliance with the royal orders of His Majesty the Sultan, the Sultanate of Oman continues the relief flights to Turkey after devastating earthquake. The traditional horse sports festival in the Wilaya of Al Madibi witnesses participation from more than 100 horses from various wilayas of the Sultanate of Oman. And the permanent exhibition of documents, archives, and historical holdings is held in Lamu Island in Kenya. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. In compliance with the royal orders of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Sultanate of Oman, represented by the Omani Charity Organization in cooperation with the Royal Air Force of Oman, continues the relief flights to Turkey after the devastating earthquake. The flights are operated by military transport aircraft of the Royal Air Force of Oman, carrying various relief materials and essential humanitarian needs. These relief flights come within the framework of the humanitarian efforts provided by the Sultanate of Oman, which will continue over the upcoming days in solidarity with Syria and Turkey. The permanent exhibition of documents, archives, and historical holdings is held in Lamu Island in Kenya. Here's a report.
Omani people from the Sultanate of Oman have reached the East African coast several hundred years before the advent of Islam. The Omani sailors made their way to the coast of East Africa, driven there by the monsoons. The historical and documentary collections are still witnessed today in this region, with the Omani presence in the Republic of Kenya, as the old close historical connections between Oman and the East African coastal towns is maintained due to good relationship witnessed throughout the time. To further preserve this excellent history, a celebration took place in this beautiful Lamu town of Kenya's Lamu County Island, where Lamu Museum was opened. The museum, of which it consists of permanent exhibition of document, archives, and historical holdings on Lamu Island, one of the rich evidence of the Omani civilization.
This is a very fantastic moment for us as a Republic of Kenya, especially the people of Hamu, who have rich history and relationship with Oman, the Sultan of Oman, since 16th century. And Lamu is very rich in the culture and the history. And we saw the first Oman people settle in Lamu, and there's a lot that they did here. And today we celebrate this great opening of the museum that is going to have the history of Oman in the coastal region of Kenya and East Africa, and many of their history, how they arrived, how they traded, and how they lived with the people, how they impacted on the culture in our coastal region.
The two-story project, it was opened by the National Documents and Archives Authority after completing the improvement and restoration operations on the building, which dates back to the year 1892 by Abdullah bin Hamad al-Busaidi, Wali of Lamu, during the reign of Sultan Sayyid Ali bin Said bin Sultan al-Busaidi.
It is an honor to have the Oman support us. This is not the only museum where the Oman have held our hands and partnered with us. This will definitely increase the flow of tourists within Lamu and even outside Lamu. This museum was not like this previously. It was dilapidated. It didn't have all these beautiful paintings and history of Oman and also the locals here. You will see a whole floor that has all our cultures here in Lamu.
تولي هيئة الوثائق والمحفوظات الوطنية كل اهتمامها
His Excellency Dr. Hamid bin Mohammed Al Dhawiyani said in his statement, the National Records and Archives Authority pays most of its attention to the historical aspects and common relations with many countries of the world and has focused more on building distinguished relations with a number of East African countries that have been associated with the Omani presence throughout different historical periods.
Our heritage and culture train has landed now to Lamu, to Lamu Island, after Mombasa Station. After Lamu Station, we are proceeding to Nairobi, where we have a beautiful heritage work there.
The improvements in the museum included equipping 7 halls with various historical and documentary materials. Among the most prominent of them is an integrated hall about the modern and renewed renaissance of the Sultanate of Oman, in addition to a special hall for the manufacture of the ship Sultana, and the exhibition are landmarks from the historical eras of the Omani governors. The historical building also highlights the common cultural relations between the two friendly peoples. This great project by the National Records and Archives Authority will indeed work to preserve the history of the Sultanate of Oman in Kenya and the region in general. Evidence of the impact of the Omani civilizational presence in the Lamu County and Kenya in general is well preserved thanks to the excellent relations between the two nations. Reporting from Lamu Museum here in Lamu County, I'm Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai, Republic of Kenya.
Aerostock Fort in the Governorate of South Al-Batina witnessed the launch of the first stage of the Tour of Oman 2023. The event is organized by the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth with the participation of Omani national cycling team and 18 international teams represented by 126 participants from Europe, Asia, America and Australia. The race will last for several days with a total length of more than 830 kilometers divided in 5 stages. The Capital Market Authority CMA approved the bulletin of issuing the shares of Abraj Energy Services Company, which is one of the companies of the OQ Group, in terms of its transformation from a closed joint stock company to a public joint stock company. In this regard, the CMA put up around 377,400,000 shares for public subscription. On the other hand, the main index of Muscat Stock Exchange MSX resumed last week its rising after 3 weeks of decline, ending the tradings of Thursday to close at 4,768 points. It recorded a weekly rise of around 49 points. The market value of securities enlisted in MSX reached more than 23.6 billion Omani riyals by the end of last week. A traditional horse sports festival was held in the Wilaya of Al-Mdaybi in North Al-Sharqiyya Governorate. The event was presided over by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Foreign Minister, and we have more details in the following report.
Amid delighting shows of horse arda and folk arts, a traditional horse sports festival was held at Al Mughirat track in the Wilaya of Al Mudaybi, in collaboration between the Horse Committee in the Wilaya of Al Mudaybi and Oman Equestrian Federation.
The aim for this festival is just to show our traditional and engage also the horse owners here to show more and give the horses more. This is the reason, and as I seen here, there is many shows in this festival.
More than 100 equestrians with horses in full splendor amused the attendees with fascinating performances ranging from challenging horse racing rounds to dressage and show jumping.
I am happy to participate in this event. Actually, I have gained a lot of skills. We have been doing dressage and show jumping, and I was always wanted to do show jumping. So today was my day. I was very happy to do this in front of a lot of people.
The large crowds of traditional horse sports fans also enjoyed the fascinating skills of the knights in archery and tent pegging, accompanied by paragliding shows as well as Omani singing arts. Such festivals revive the graceful traditional horse sports, which are an integral part of Oman's long-standing identity and cultural heritage. From the Wilaya of Al-Mudaybi, Salih Bakhalfan Al-Rahbi, North Al-Sharqiyya Governorate.
International aid was trickling into parts of Turkey and Syria today, where rescuers told to pull up children from rubble in areas devastated by a massive earthquake that has killed over 24,000 people. A winter freeze in the affected areas has hurt rescue efforts and compounded the suffering of millions of people in many desperate need of aid. At least 870,000 people urgently needed food in the two countries after the quake, which has left up to 5.3 million people homeless in Syria alone, the UN warned. Aftershocks following Monday's 7.8 magnitude tremor have added to the death toll and further upended the lives of survivors. Ukrainian authorities said that Russian forces launched 71 cruise missiles, 35 S-300 missiles, and 7 Shahed drones between the late Thursday and midday Friday, adding that Ukrainian air defenses drowned 61 cruise missiles and 5 drones. Russia's defense ministry said Friday's strike hit all the designated targets, halting the operation of Ukraine's defense factories and blocking the delivery of supplies of Western weapons and ammunition. The claim couldn't be independently verified. Ukraine's energy company Ukraingo said today that the situation was difficult but controllable, adding that involved backups to keep up power supplies, but noting that power rationing will continue in some areas. Peruvian authorities said on Friday the death toll from devastating mudslides in the country's southern and central regions has climbed to 18, including 3 children. The landslides, which occurred last Sunday, have also left 27 people injured and 20 missing, according to data from Peru's National Institute of Civil Defense. The latest fatality came early yesterday in the central Indian region of Jenin, where a rock and mudslide buried a vehicle, killing 1 person and injuring 2 others. Rains were heaviest in the Arequipa region, with homes, roads, schools, and medical center were destroyed in Camana province. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. In compliance with the royal orders of His Majesty the Sultan, the Sultanate of Oman continues the relief flights to Turkey after the devastating earthquake. The traditional horse sports festival in the Wilaya of Al-Mudaybi witnesses participation from more than 100 horses from various wilayas of the Sultanate of Oman. And the permanent exhibition of documents, archives, and historical holdings is held in Lamu Island in Kenya. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios is good night and stay safe.